The Public Health Agency of Canada has just released a statement saying that exercise has been proven to reduce the risk of 25 chronic conditions.
It's right foot and left hand, and I'm pushing behind. The poles never come in front of me. They push beside me and push me along, so I'm walking on 4 feet.
But when it comes to exercise, and I don't even understand this, 51% of us somehow decide, oh, I can give it up. I don't have to do this. That's not true. We delude only ourselves when we say that. It's not optional. It's something we must do.
From the Zoomerplex in historic Liberty Village, the Zoomer with Marissa Semkiw.
Welcome to the Zoomer. I'm Marissa Semkiw. We're starting the show outside walking because today is all about CARP's newest advocacy campaign, Stand Up Straight and Move Your Buns. Now, you might think that nothing could be easier. Turns out nothing is harder. Even those with the best of intentions often struggle to motivate themselves to stand up straight and get moving. Exercise, even a 5-minute walk or light swim, is the best preventive medicine and far outweighs any special food supplement, diet cream, and what have you when it comes to longevity and quality of life. And it's never too late to start. So let's head into the studio. We have a huge audience today. It's going to be a great show. But before we dive in, let's tee up the topic.
If you're moving, you're improving. That's the consensus from study after study exploring the benefits of exercise. Even exercise as simple as walking. Exercise is good for the brain. One study found that regular physical activity reduces the risk of dementia by as much as 50%. It's also good for mobility. Zoomers who regularly exercise are less likely to suffer a disability, and if they do, recover faster. One of the best predictors of mortality is the inability to walk 400 meters at one go. A recent study of seniors found that the risk of death was 3 times greater for those unable to complete the walk compared to those who could. Exercise also lowers the risk of 13 different varieties of cancer by as much as 30 to 40%. And it lowers our risk of death from any cause. Burning just 1,000 calories per week reduces the risk of mortality by 20%. So the next time you have a checkup, don't be surprised if your doctor hands you a prescription to walk.
At the round table, we have medical and fitness experts, including a family physician and a kinesiologist, for their expert knowledge on how an active lifestyle not only helps you live longer, it helps you live better. Before we jump into the discussion, here is a man who practices what he preaches.
Here's a thing that we can do for ourselves. We can stand up straight, we can move our buns, and we can preserve our mind. Follow me. I'll show you how. Of course, it helps if you live as I do. I'm a lucky guy on the edge of a beautiful park, and if it's a beautiful day, but the point of walking is that it doesn't require any particular venue, and sometimes it's good to go out in bad weather as well as good. My own regime, I'm no angel, is I'm out here often in good weather, and over the winter, not so much. Now, one of the things I like most about walking is that sometimes it's exercise and you're really bearing down, pounding it out, trying to get to a good pace and hold it. Or people have understood this thing about walking, that it enables quiet contemplation for ages. And the Romans even had a phrase for it, solvitur ambulando. It is solved by walking. So after a really good and vigorous walk, you then can reward yourself by sitting calmly on a chair and imbibing in the beauties of nature. But just in case you're the kind of person who needs really good, hard evidence that this is not just an exercise in idle beauty, there are so many studies. We've published some of them here in the magazine Zoomer, Annette Bening edition, and they all reveal pretty much the same thing. Physical exercise is beneficial in the prevention of cognitive impairment and dementia. There is a mountain of literature on the benefits of physical activity. Prescribing exercise for our gang may be more important than prescribing medications.
All right, so much of CARP's campaign, Bill, is centered on walking. And so I have to ask, why walking?
Walking uses the large muscles. It's low impact. Almost anybody can do it. And it has an effect on the entire body. 70% of Canadians in a recent participation study said that walking was their favorite form of fitness. People love to do it, we just need them doing it more.
Now, over the next couple of months, CARP will be engaging its 300,000 members across the country to engage in group walking activities with the hope of starting a habit that they eventually don't want to break. And so if you want to be involved in that, you can visit carp.ca/standupstraight for more information on how to sign up for those various walking clubs. Now, Dr. Gorfinkel, you have agreed to come on as CARP's medical expert for this campaign. You're also a family physician. You're a very busy woman, and yet you're taking your time to do this. Why is it so important to you? Why are you so passionate about this issue?
I so appreciate the stage. I cannot thank you enough for the stage. I think that in our doctor's office visits, our time is so limited, and we have to hit that diabetes, we have to hit that hyperlipidemia, we have all these things that we have to address, and rarely is exercise addressed to the degree that it deserves.
How often are you prescribing exercise?
To almost every patient without exception. The way I tell the patient with end-stage arthritis is they have to redefine and recontextualize that walker. That walker is nothing more than an exercise machine. The cane is an exercise machine. The purpose of it is to get out and exercise and walk more. What people don't realize is that when they're exercising, it's not just the heart is beating harder and faster. It's the very arteries themselves, which have a muscular wall. We're exercising the arteries themselves. And that makes a huge difference. As we get older, we get stiffer pipes. The arteries become stiffer and harder with atherosclerosis, and none of us are spared that. Of course, diabetes and hypertension and smoking aggravate it and accelerate it. But imagine, if the heart is beating harder and faster through those pipes, you're loosening your pipes. And that goes for every part of the body. And that's why we see so many health benefits from it.
Now, Eliza, I have to ask, what would you say to someone that says to you, oh, that's not going to happen to me, or I can't really make much of a difference. If it's going to happen to me, it's going to happen to me anyway?
The Public Health Agency of Canada has just released a statement saying that exercise has been proven to reduce the risk of 25 chronic conditions already, and that even if they could just start off slowly, set goals for themselves to try to achieve the 150 minutes of cardiovascular exercise that's being recommended for seniors, that would be a great thing, a great way to start.
There's a beauty to what you're describing there. One of the things I have to mention, that 25 conditions, my teaching was 30 chronic conditions, which is essentially, virtually, every disease you can name. It cuts across the board, and that's exciting. 30 chronic conditions. So name it, your hypertension, your hyperlipidemia, your cardiovascular health in general, the likelihood of going on to have a heart attack, a cancer, it's all reduced through exercise, and that is major.
Yeah, you know, if you as a physician could say there's one pill that will cure all these diseases, wouldn't people want to have it?
I suppose I'd be somewhere in the Bahamas if I had that.
And that's what it is.
Incredible.
It's
true.
It's being
It's
fit is
true.
the one pill that'll affect all of them.
And that is all coming up next. Now, when we come back, fascinating new studies on the benefits of walking. And later, a big surprise for our in-studio audience. Don't go away.
Just going for a walk, you can do it anytime. You don't need any special equipment. You can go with friends or not. One thing about walking compared to running is that it's very social because you can talk to your friends when you're walking.
Welcome back. There's no shortage of research to show the benefits of adding walking to your fitness routine, from improving cardiac health to alleviating fatigue to reducing our risk for cancer or chronic disease. Walking has also been shown to improve memory and prevent the deterioration of brain tissue as we age. Plus, psychologists studying how exercise relieves anxiety and depression suggest that even a 10-minute walk may be just as good as a 45-minute workout.
My exercise is half an hour walk, 40 push-ups in the mall every day.
Hey Anthony, take my camera so I can join the walkers.
CARP's newest initiative is a step ahead by prioritizing fitness for Zoomers, like fun and heart-healthy activities like walking clubs.
At our AGM at the end of last year, CARP announced our priorities for 2018, and among them for the first time was a call to our members and Zoomers across Canada to participate in their own physical fitness for their health and their mental well-being. But this year we're looking at ourselves and we're saying, what can we do to improve in a way that will slow down the onset of disability, that will preserve our mind and keep us moving?
I lost my wife, I guess it's 10 years ago. And that made me want to get out and walk, get mixed up with other people.
Keep moving. That's the only way to do. I have osteoarthritis, and that's the one thing they keep telling me. Keep moving.
I don't believe in taking a lot of pills and that. You're far better off to exercise and eat properly.
Get off the couch, get moving, keep your feet on the ground and reach for the stars.
One step at a time, that's all it takes.
For more information, visit carp.ca. Here in Newmarket, I'm Carly Saggy for Zoomer News, encouraging you to...
So if you will, what are some of the more sexy facts about exercise?
I am so glad you were asking, Marissa. Sexy facts. People actually don't consider exercise and sex in the same kind of thought. They thought, well, I'm kind of exercising when I have sex, maybe. But the fact of the matter is, remember what I said about the arteries? We're exercising our arteries. Well, guess what creates an erection? What creates that female sexual response? It's actually all about blood flow to those areas. So if we've got stiff pipes, ain't no much blood flow going on. That's a problem. So with exercise, you get the picture. You get the picture. Increased blood flow, less erectile dysfunction. Better sexual attention, excitement. People rate their sexual activities to be more satisfying. So it is exciting. It's a very different concept than the Viagra concept. In other words, you're having sexual dysfunction, let me give you a pill. By its very nature, that's very disempowering to the person. That implicitly says, you have no control. There's nothing you can do. You need this pill. While the pill plays an important role, I don't deny that. I think the exercise piece of it is often just simply left out.
But again, and it's not just those sexy facts too. I mean, exercise helps to prevent 13 different types of cancers. I mean, it's remarkable by large percentages.
It's the cancer reduction is huge. And the cancer reduction is most seen in breast cancer and in colorectal cancer. But who would have thought cancers like renal cancer, that's kidney cancer, liver cancer, blood cancers are reduced, stomach cancer, esophageal cancer, like the number of cancers that are reduced, even blood cancers like multiple myeloma. It's incredible. Leukemias and lymphomas, the list just goes on, and those are the ones we know about.
Now, Bill, you know, it's so often the case that people have lived their lives, childcare, early mornings from work. They just want to kick back with their feet up when they retire. What do you say to them?
We say the beauty of going for a walk, whether you're using poles or not, basic walking is good for you. Walking with poles is a better way to walk, but just going for a walk, you can do it anytime. You don't need any special equipment. You can go with friends or not. One thing about walking compared to running is that it's very social because you can talk to your friends when you're walking. And all the research shows a half hour 5 or 6 days a week. Give yourself one day off. You're burning cells when you're building muscle, so you need to let them recover a little bit. But 5 or 6 days a week, a half an hour is the optimum amount of time. And who can't find a half an hour every day to go for a walk?
there's a general understanding that people understand that exercise is good, Eliza.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think that they get it? They understand just how good it is?
I don't think they realize all the benefits of doing regular activity and how easy it can be. It doesn't even have to be 30 minutes altogether. Really, it can be a 10-minute bout a few times a day. The goal is to add up to the 150 minutes. So if you think like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, going for a 5-minute walk afterward away from your house and then turn around and walk back, it seems like an easier task to accomplish. Some of the benefits they get from cardiovascular exercise is improved sleep. We see decreased pain. We see a reduction in chronic disease. So it's a fantastic thing to start.
And exercise being one of the single most important factors for maintaining our independence, while sedentary living, of course, leads to greater risk, right, Eric?
Atrophy is a cumulative thing. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time. Just like exercise response is cumulative, not moving, being sedentary starts a regression in what we can do with ourselves. So I say move every day. I practice what I preach. I'm 49. I've had decades of good living and activity, and I hope to go another 50 years like this.
Dr. Gorfinkel, what percentage of Canadian seniors, let's say, get enough exercise, get the right amount of exercise?
That is a depressing question.
I apologize.
That is depressing.
But for the audience, I mean, you need to know.
True enough. I don't know what the audience believes. The numbers are actually 50%. 50% do not do the exercise they need to do. And a lot of it may come down to what their doctors are recommending. I really think that if a physician's visit is based on only numbers on blood tests, pills, these are important, but there has to be some mention of the importance of exercise.
Yeah.
Like, that has to be.
Now, the other part of this discussion, of course, Bill, is that there are two multi-billion-dollar industries profiting off of individuals not taking control of their own health through exercise. That's the anti-aging industry, so food supplements, creams, and then when disease and whatnot starts to kick in, then you have the pharmaceutical industry, which is to say that the fallout from a lack of physical activity really impacts our pocketbooks, does it not?
Oh, it certainly does, and that's one of the reasons that CARP has been urging governments to pay more attention, to encourage all of us, not just seniors, to be more fit, to get more exercise, to get out and walk, to get out and swim, to get out and use their Nordic poles, because the money that could be saved is tremendous. And the problem, of course, is the place that the money is saved is not in government is not the same place that it's being spent, and it's really hard to get those two silos together. And somehow all of us have to tell our elected politicians that we want more support into making sure people do exercise regularly, and it'll not only help the population, it'll save us money too.
All right, well, when we come back, tips to improve your strength, balance, and stability. And later, a special gift giveaway for the audience. Stay tuned.
You're going to stand with one foot right in front of the other. Now, these are great balance exercises that actually could be done by your kitchen sink or a steady surface. So you go through the progressions and find out what felt challenging for you.
Welcome back. Balance is a key component of fitness. Here to demonstrate a strength test and a balance test for us. And to discuss how this ties into the importance of staying active is Eliza Reid, kinesiologist at VON Canada. Eliza, before we jump in, let me just start by asking for our audience, what is a kinesiologist?
What we do is we look at assessing human movement and performance, and we work on rehabilitation and management to maintain, rehabilitate, and enhance human movement.
What happens physically to the body if we don't exercise?
There is an atrophy effect of not exercising, which really means we have some muscle loss and we lose our strength and endurance in those muscles. So it puts us at a greater risk for falls or losing independence, which we don't want to see.
So why don't we start with the strength test?
So what I'm going to ask you to do is hold this 5-pound weight. Now, it is a standardized test, so we do compare against averages and see if you're at risk for an increased risk for fall. So I'm going to have you actually hold it like you're doing a handshake. Do you prefer your left left side? Because we can do that. Okay, so we're going to take it from there and we're going to place it down by your side. Now from this position, we're going to come up and we're going to curl so that the hand faces in towards the shoulder. So that'll be our practice one. We're going to go for 30 seconds. We're going to see how many you're able to accomplish. So this is a test you could do at home to see if your upper body strength is putting you at risk for falling.
And I will count.
Excellent. Excellent. So I want you to breathe. I don't want you to move the upper portion of your arm, so it's going to stay by your side. So at the moment you start swinging your arm, we can't count those anymore. It's cheating. So hand here, we're going to rotate up, rotate down. Are you ready? Okay, here we go, and go. Nice. So if at any time you needed to stop, you could rest your hand on your knee. So just going back to that hand shape position, you don't have to rotate all the way. Almost. You're halfway there. Oh, do a full one. So we don't count the ones that are only halfway. Perfect. It does get a little tricky, but you're doing great. And stop. So how many was that?
I counted 12.
12.
Did I count wrong?
I'm not sure. Was anybody else counting? So
12, got it.
It is deemed that if you can do 11 of these in the 30 seconds, that you're not at an increased risk for falling.
And so if you'll indulge us for just one more test, I think we'll do a balance test now.
Let's try. It's called the 4-stage balance test. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly change your foot position. So we'll stand up. And I'm going to get you to stand with your feet right together. So we're narrowing your base of support with this test. We're going to try to hold that position for 10 seconds, and if at any time you needed to step out, do so, okay? And I'm just starting the time now. So we're most steady when our feet are a little wider apart. So this can be challenging for some individuals, but it looks pretty easy for you. And stop. Great. So then stage 2, well, we're going to keep making it a little harder. Stage 2 is we're going to put our heel right by our big toe. No, not quite there. Just beside, to the side. Once you feel like you're in position, find a nice steady spot to watch. We're going to see if you can hold that for 10 seconds. There we go. So this is a test that can be done, I was going to say, to see if how static balance is in a person. And stop. If a person can pass this next stage, they're considered not at risk for falling. Now, if at any time you need to step out, because I don't want to create the thing we're trying to prevent. So we're going to stand with one foot right in front of the other. Now, these are great balance exercises that actually could be done by your kitchen sink or a steady surface. So you'd go through the progressions and find out what felt challenging for you and practice balance every day. And stop. So she's not at risk for falling.
Yay!
This week. There is one more level. There is one more level if you want to attempt it. Not too many people can do this, but I'm going to ask you to stand on one foot. Now the key is you're not allowed to touch your foot to your other leg, and you're not allowed to touch it down to the floor. So it has to either float in front or behind, but just slightly up. So let's see how long we can go. And a measure of your success could be if you can hold this for 3 seconds today, and then 6 months after training, you can hold it for the full 10. Then you know you've improved. Oh, she's doing great. And done. Yay!
Fantastic. All right, well, Eliza, thank you so much. When we come back, Bill takes us for a walk. Stay tuned.
Poles right behind you. Drag them a couple of steps and then start swinging your arms. Follow me.
To pull us forward, causing us to slouch, and it can be very challenging to remember to sit tall and strong, but it's worth it for overall physical function. Here with me now is Eric Sava, fitness expert at Variety Village, to take us through some posture routines with the help of the audience behind me. Now, before we get in, I mean, we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. Sitting at a computer all day, inevitably, at some point, you'll find yourself a little bit hunched over if you're reading. So why is it so important to mentally remember, oh yes, I need to sit up straight?
Because you won't remember the next day, why is my back hurting? Why is my shoulders hurting? Why is my neck sore? You know, I've been looking down at my cell phone the entire day, and for some reason my neck's sore the next day. I can't understand why. And we continue to do it. We don't remember what caused that injury. And again, that injury is cumulative. It doesn't happen suddenly. It happens over a long period of time. And yeah, you have to keep reminding yourself that good posture will keep that stuff from happening.
Okay, so take it away. Let's go through a posture routine that our audience behind us can also partake in.
All right, again, we're limited with the amount of space our audience members have. So the first thing I want you to do is sit forward. I don't want you leaning back on those chairs. I want you sitting upright, straight up and down, feet flat on the floor, about shoulder width apart, and arms to the side. Let's start rolling those shoulders backwards. Okay?
And these are just some of the things that we can do to promote good posture even when we're at work. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, you can do this sitting at your chair, in front of the computer, at your desk. Okay, now let's start shrugging. Straight up and down. Again, while you're doing this, you're practicing that upright posture. Good job. Okay, now light rotations, just light rotations. And again, you're limited. Say hi to your neighbor. Good. 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 Good, and now let's start reaching for those ankles side to side, flexing right and left.
So this is a warm-up that you would do at the beginning of each of your classes?
At the beginning, and I give people a long warm-up. The warm-up can be the workout too. We speed it up. We add a little bit faster paces to it. Okay, let's start reaching forward as far as you can. Nudge that neighbor in the front on the shoulder, say hi. Good? Good job. Excellent. That's good for now for the upper body.
What's this doing?
Well, we're using those back muscles, those extensors. We're strengthening that core, and we're coming back to upright. We're resetting ourselves back to upright. Now you can work on the lower body seated. We can start with light knee raises using those flexor muscles. Good. Now normally, the audience members do not have to do that unless they want to kick their neighbor. We can do extensions, reaching out as far as you can, working on the quadricep muscles. We can do drags, working on the hamstrings.
Fantastic. This is a little more difficult in heels.
A little bit. Use that friction of the ground, press into the ground. Let's start a light march, sitting on our chairs. Good. Now imagine doing this at work, or watching TV. And again, practice that posture, sitting upright, because that's how you promote that good posture. Shoulders back, chest out. Think about those cues, looking straight ahead. Good job.
All right.
Good cadence.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it sounds good
stop.
in here. Okay.
Good job.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
We're going to head outside with Bill, but before we get to Bill outside, who's going to demo his latest technology and techniques for us, Zed News videographer Darren Maharaj takes a look at other exercises for Zoomers.
There is a mountain of literature on the benefits of physical activity. Prescribing exercise for our gang may be more important than prescribing medications.
And that's why Moses has launched CARP's new Stand Up Straight and Move Our Buns to Preserve Our Minds campaign. It's all about getting you off your tush and moving, whether it's a casual stroll in the park, or if you're breaking a sweat outdoors, it all counts. Here at Snow Valley Ski Resort north of Toronto, we're taking you behind the scenes of a Zoomer Mag photo shoot featuring a 71-year-old with a trailblazing passion for snowmobiling.
We've been riding, my wife and I, for the past 30 years. So we're very fortunate where we live in Sudbury, Ontario. We can ride most of the season right out of our yard.
We'll go out for an afternoon and put on 200 kilometers, stop someplace and have a nice lunch.
Over the years, I've met dozens of Zoomers that have taken exercise to the next level, breaking records and proving that age is just a number. That includes another new addition to the Ultimate Zoomer roster, 52-year-old microbiology professor JP.
I realized that race walking was a very good exercise. It's not as impactful on the joints as the running. I won silver medals in the World Masters Games and bronze medals at the World Masters Athletics Championships.
And if some exercises just seem too difficult, experts say the key is to modify.
So Maxine here, she is doing the modification because she has got a bad knee. So we asked her, instead of jumping, she can tap from side to side. And then instead of crawling underneath the bars, all she could do is just be lifting up one leg, one leg.
My favorite thing is the ropes. I love doing the ropes because I have a lot of arm strength, but not knee strength.
To learn more about this exciting new exercise campaign and find out how you can join the movement, visit carp.ca.
So I'm outside with Bill Van Gorder now and 8 brave audience members ready to walk the walk, each with a set of Nordic walking poles. Now, Bill, we all know the benefits of walking, but why walk with poles?
The benefits of walking with poles is simply that when we ordinarily walk, we only use the muscles from the waist down. When we use the poles and push down with every step, we're using the large muscles from the waist to the shoulder, the 45% of muscles that are here. So all the benefits of walking are just increased by that much when you walk properly with poles.
So how often do you get outside to go pole walking?
I go 5 or 6 days a week for about 45 minutes. When I walk, I take about 50 to 100 steps in that time. I know because I always wear a pedometer. And that means that 2,600 times with each arm, I'm pushing down, engaging all those upper body muscles. It's like going into the gym and doing 2,600 reps with a light weight. Would you do 2,600 reps in the gym?
Certainly not.
No, and neither would I. But when you walk, you just do it normally. So all the benefits of walking, the use of the large muscles, for instance, people with a BMI about 25, the research shows burn 30% more calories when they're using poles than when they're regularly walking.
Now, how technical are these sticks? Is there a technique to them? Can anyone just pick up a pair of Nordic walking poles and go for a walk?
Well, there is a technique, and we're going to show everybody in a moment. The important thing to remember is that they're not hiking or trekking poles. Nordic poles invented in Finland by their national cross-country ski team, so it's really just skiing without the cross-country skiing without the snow, have a special strap with a thumb hole so you don't actually hold onto the pole, and they have a large 1 by 2 inch foot so you get a really good grip on the ground. And when you're walking, you push down using the strap, not holding onto the pole, so that when you're walking out, you actually let go of the pole back here, keeping your wrist straight all the time, because if you're just walking like this, you're only exercising this muscle. When you walk with the poles this way, you're exercising right down to the core.
Well, why don't you take a few steps for us so you guys can see?
Notice it's right foot and left hand, and I'm pushing behind. The poles never come in front of me. They push beside me and push me along, so I'm walking on 4 feet. Using all the muscles, do the same amount of work, so it'll feel like you're not working as hard because you're using twice the muscles to do the same amount of work.
Okay, well, you guys are going to head out on a walk around the Zoomerplex, and in the meantime, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll hear from the audience.
Poles right behind you. Drag them a couple of steps, and then start swinging your arms. Follow me. There you are. Good. Good.
If you said, just like anything else I do, I brush my teeth, I exercise. If we remove choice from the equation and it became something that you actually had to do every day, life would change.
Just returned. I have to ask, how was it?
Great.
Yeah. And would you recommend it to someone?
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so easy to pick up and learn.
Yeah?
It's great, yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, it certainly complements regular walking with the upper torso workout.
All right. Okay. Well, the good news is each of you, because you were so gracious in participating, will be going home with your own set of Nordic walking sticks valued at $70 retail. If you can look down to for our audience sitting in their seats, if you have an orange sticker on your chair, you are also going home with a set of Nordic walking poles. But no one is going home empty-handed. For those that don't have the sticker on their chair, they will each walk home with this Nordics fanny pack for your walks, where you can store all your popular items. So now we'll turn to questions from the audience, starting with our first audience member. Ma'am, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Robby Wilson.
And what's your question?
So I live in a big apartment complex. We have a beautiful indoor swimming pool, a fully equipped gym, and even an indoor tennis court. And when I moved in 11 years ago, I even had a personal trainer come with me into the gym, and I was very motivated. And now, like 11 years later, I just have no motivation. So I just want to know what's your advice, if you have any advice for me.
The first question that I would ask as your family doctor is, what do you see as the barriers to your exercising? What are the barriers?
I'm lazy.
And that's a natural instinct, I think.
I'd like to interject. I think what you need to do is that first, while you're making the habit, is treat it like it's a doctor's appointment. It's something you can't miss. Put it on your calendar and stick with it that way until it becomes habit and you actually want to do it.
And get your husband or a friend to do it with you so you can encourage each other and have that peer support. That really helps too.
But I would try to understand first, what are the barriers? And better define them, as opposed to saying, I'm just a lazy person, because clearly you're not from your description.
I'm really not a lazy person.
You know, it's like anybody who makes it to a condo with an indoor tennis court can't be lazy, unless it's inherited. Just saying. You know, so that's the thing, like trying to redefine that, because if a person has a solid negative thought, it becomes the 401 before us. You know, it's like this 12-lane concrete highway of thought. I'm lazy, I can never do it, it can never happen. So what I would try to do is deconstruct that negative thought process and try to understand, where does it come from? And in understanding it, and thereby deconstructing it and giving alternate paths of belief. For example, I'm not lazy. That's not true. I'm not a lazy person. I'm an empowered person. Exercise will empower me further. Perhaps if I do this in the morning. And I have another belief, and that is the belief in the lack of choice. If you said, just like anything else I do, I brush my teeth, I exercise. If we remove choice from the equation and it became something that you actually had to do every day, life would change. But you can't give yourself that choice. You don't ask, there's things that are not up for debate. Eating is not up for debate. Generally eating well, I think especially the Zoomer audience, we're kind of into that, we kind of get that. But when it comes to exercise, and I don't even understand this, 51% of us somehow decide, oh, I can give it up, I don't have to do this. That's not true. We delude only ourselves when we say that. It's not optional. It's something we must do. 30 chronic conditions, that's practically everything you can name. How many cancers?
I think he said 13.
13 cancers. That's a lot of cancer. You know, so I ask you, what is truly optional here?
Well, I hope that's enough motivation for you. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
I'm starting today.
Stay right there. We'll be right back with some final thoughts.
Lila tweets about her studio audience experience on theZoomer. I thoroughly enjoyed the Zoomer today. Getting the pair of walking sticks is a great motivator to get up and move. On Fight Back, Ontario Pharmacists Association's Dean Miller stopped by to share his knowledge on being active.
You know, a lot of pharmacies that I know have become a bit of a destination for you know, different devices and things. I mean, Fitbits and things.
Yeah.
You know, there's many pharmacies that sell those now too, because you know it is something that actually will give you some really good information about, you know, how fit you are.
Keep the comments coming in. And don't forget to log on to www.thezoomertv.com for full episodes and more.
Welcome back. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the show thus far. It's that part of of the show where we get final thoughts from our panelists. So I'll start to my left with you, Dr. Gorfinkel.
The one thing we didn't really go into that I wanted to touch on was emotional well-being. And what's exciting about exercising is sleep. Sleep is exciting about exercising because most of us, when sleep doesn't go well, we get the caffeine thing. We get the sleep hygiene thing. Same time to bed, same time up. But even with that, that's often not quite enough. When we exercise, we improve quantity of sleep and we improve quality of sleep. And that thereby has indirect effects on how we feel the next day. And how we feel the next day, mood, anxiety, sexual interest, pleasure, all of these things go up. So they're all interrelated. The exercise piece, the physical emotional piece, and the well-being all around.
Sleep's important. Sleep is very important. Having a regular routine is, and a consistent routine is important. What I find from just about all of my clients that have a health issue, there's nothing else that takes priority over that. So you have to change your priority in order to have that perspective on, we've got to do something every day. I gotta eat better, I gotta move more. Drink your water, people. I say drink your water. Nothing's more important than hydration. So,
Eliza, final thoughts.
I think just to set goals for yourself, keep in mind what you're trying to accomplish, and work with someone if you're unsure of what to do so that you don't injure yourself in the process. I think exercise is very important for fall prevention and maintaining independence. And yes.
I think what I'd like to emphasize is the fact that starting this spring, CARP chapters all across the country are going to be sponsoring walking clubs. And we really urge the viewers to go out and find their local chapter, find the local activity, because one of the real impetuses to get out and walking is have some friends to walk with and do it with.
Okay, well, as always, thank you to my panelists and to our audience in studio and at home for watching. For how to get involved, please visit carp.ca/standupstraight. We'll see you soon. For now, it's time to zoom out.